Claustrophobia has always been a topic that caused me a lot of discomfort. The mere idea of being trapped in such a narrow, suffocating space where you can barely move your body is enough to make me uneasy. Just looking at this illustration, that human silhouette compressed inside a space that seemed smaller than a coffin already gave me a knot in my stomach. It was as if the drawing itself carried the despair of that young man. In this image, we see Naoki Kano. But after all, what happened here? How did he end up in this tight space? Naoki's story doesn't start where he was found. It begins long before, in a small village in Japan. Naoki was known as an active young man in the community. He worked, participated in local events, and helped with political campaigns. There was nothing about him that drew negative attention. He didn't have a problematic or strange history. He was just an ordinary guy. He showed up every day and talked to people, but that particular week, no one knew exactly where he was. He wasn't at work, he wasn't home, and in a small village like that, the silence surrounding his disappearance was even stranger. Because when someone goes missing there, everyone notices. His family and friends thought he might have traveled without telling anyone. But as the hours turned into days and no news came, the village started to feel that something was deeply wrong. It was about 3 days of absence, and no one received a call or even a signal. Then, in the late morning of February 28, 1989, the school janitor went to check on the small girl's dormitory because of a strange odor coming from the bathroom. The janitor thought it might be a clogged pipe, a simple maintenance issue. But when he opened the septic tank lid, his world stopped. There was a man inside, compressed, trapped, fitting so specifically that it seemed impossible for anyone to have entered there willingly. And the person inside was precisely Naoki Kano. When the police finally arrived, they were faced with such an absurd scene that even the officers took a few minutes to understand what they were really seeing. The septic tank was just below the women's bathroom, a cement structure with a narrow side access, connected by a pipe that looked barely big enough for water to pass through, let alone for an adult young man. Investigators descended with flashlights, masks, and metal hooks. The smell was horrendous, the environment cold and damp. The position suggested he had entered headfirst or crawled through the pipe, but the diameter of the pipe was so narrow that it barely fit an outstretched arm. The police's initial reaction was one of bewilderment, then caution, and then, most dangerously in cases like this, the rush to find a quick, simple explanation. They examined Naoki. There were no signs of violence, only light scratches on his body, consistent with someone trying to move in such a tight space. The cause of death was recorded as hypothermia and asphyxiation due to confinement. Based on that, the police quickly concluded that Naoki had entered the pipe voluntarily, and the explanation they settled on was uncomfortably simple and controversial. He was probably trying to spy on women in the bathroom. This statement hit the village like a bombshell. Nobody believed it, not his family, not his friends, and not those who had known Kano since childhood. He was a good boy, never showed obsession, and had never been seen lurking around the area. Furthermore, the physical structure totally contradicts that explanation. The pipe was too narrow for anyone to enter without help. The position in which he was found suggested he was trapped immediately, no chance to move forward or backward. He had been missing for days, which raises the question, how did he get there without anyone noticing? And the strangest part, only one of his shoes was in the tank, the other had vanished. There's also the most discussed theory among the villagers, that he was actually placed there. If it's impossible for him to have entered alone, then logically, someone put him inside somehow. There's also the punishment theory, which says that some humiliating punishments are unofficially used in local disputes, especially in small villages. This theory suggests he was put there to be punished and humiliated. But no theory seems to complete the puzzle. Each explains a piece but leaves another unexplained. It makes sense that he could have been a pervert who entered there on his own. But then, why was only one of his shoes found there? At the same time, if someone placed him there, why were there no signs of a struggle or violence? In the end, no theory seems to solve this mystery. And because of that, the lingering question remains, how did Naoki really end up there?